Hey, what's going on? It's Raza over here. Hey, listen, recently I do weekly coaching sessions for new authors who are writing their books and using the structure that I teach them to write their own nonfiction self help book. And the whole point of writing this book is really to be able to give them a platform where they can take their message to millions of people, create an amplifier for themselves to launch or get more exposure to their coaching consulting business. And really, these people are experts in their particular niche, and they go on a journey of writing a book to create an amplification for themselves. I know I had gone on the book journey back in 2013, and it really changed my life. It got me on stages around the world, stages like Get Motivated, Peaks Potentials, many mastermind events, hundreds of multi-day events, and got an opportunity to speak to thousands of people. And all that because I used the book as my ticket, book as a gateway. So, anyways, what I want to share with you is I want to share with you a clip of my session. I do Monday coaching sessions, calls with my authors, and I really spoke to them about three components. One, how to position your story inside of your nonfiction book, right? Number two, I talked about the reader's journey. How do you outline that? And number three, I talked about how do you create an outline that serves as a multi-purpose outline. What do I mean by that? Not only do you use it to create your or write your book, but you also use it as your social media calendar, and to create content, and use it as a platform, as an outline to launch your own course. So that's what this call is. So I just took that. I feel like it will benefit you. And if you're on a journey to write a book, if you're a coach, a consultant, self-employed professional, and you want to use a book to create a niche for yourself, then this video is definitely for you. Have a look. Real question is this: as a business, as an investor, as someone whose success lies in getting in front of the right people, people who will do business with us, how do we break through obscurity? How do we break through the noise? How do we showcase our message, our opportunities, and our offers in front of the right people? That is the question, and this show has the answer. My name is Raza Aziz. Welcome to The Bold Entrepreneur. So let's talk about when you're writing your story. We kind of, Ken and I, we highlight this in the webinar, is that really, in reality, if you truly understand people, nobody really cares about you. Nobody cares about me. No, but like, that's not the point. I think people are not, I think, I know people are too consumed with solving their own problems. They're consumed with this, like, yeah, if I'm going to give you my attention, well, how are you going to help me? What are you going to help me with? And so on and so forth. Now, autobiographies and writing your own stories, like those kind of things are really great if you are Oprah, Steve Jobs, and Michelle Obama, right? Like those kind of things, because you have that celebrity status. And if you're writing, if you have that celebrity status, then it's a different kind of world. So for people like you and I, why people will now, by the way, let me put this precursor in there. I don't necessarily mean to say that your life experiences and your story is not important or relevant, right? I don't mean to discount that. What I do mean to, I want to make sure that if you are going to go on a journey of writing a book and put time and energy and effort and money into writing a book, that it is a book that not only positions itself to sell thousands of copies, but also want to make sure that it is an amplifier for you, right? For you to be able to get your message to the people, not just 5, 10, 50 people. Let's just go out there and create a book that can help hundreds and thousands of people. Give your book that opportunity. And if you're going to give your book that opportunity, then you want to write the book differently. The reason that 90% of the self-help books fail. Now, if I pull up the stats and it says, oh, 90% of the books fail. Well, the one thing for me to do is just like, okay, I'm not writing a book. That's one, right? The other way to think about it is like, why do 90% of the books fail? Well, when you really start diving into it, is because 90% of the authors who write their books, one, don't know how to write a book. That's number one. Number two, they don't know how to promote a book, right? Like there's that marketing mind that you need to be able to move your book. It's so funny. My ads were running last week for the webinar, because I do ads every single week. And when the ad ran, somebody wrote a comment on the ad, said that you can't necessarily guarantee a bestseller. So how is it that you showcase, like, or how is it that you think that, let's talk about Nick Boothman. How did Nick create? He wrote 5 books and 5 of them were bestsellers, right? How is it that when you go behind the scenes of people like, I don't know, I follow guys like Russell Brunson and Tony Robbins and some of the other business leaders, when they are going to be releasing a book, there's a whole team that is organizing the book launch to make the book a bestseller. You see, once you know what the bestseller criteria is, you work backwards from it. And you don't work backwards from it after the book comes out. You don't do that. That's too late. So you got to start planning for it. So the books are in the planning and the launch is in the planning for years before the book comes out, right? So and that's what we're bringing to you through all of this, is like, again, and you've heard me say this, is like, hey, listen, the time to start building your social media, your audience, is not after your book comes out, it's before, right? The reason we go through the writing system the way we do is because we want to make sure that you write the books that are positioned to be bestsellers, that they're not just a whole bunch of story, that their chapters are outlined as a sequence. It's logical sequence in creating a transformation. Now, throughout those chapters, Ken and I, and Nick as well, we encourage you to weave your story throughout the chapters. So this is how you use the story in your life to help people create a transformation. And that's why you will have to understand that the first thing that you're going to do is identify who that ideal reader is. And by the way, to make your job a little bit easy, your ideal reader is you a few years ago, right? Just to make it easy for you, right? Like your ideal reader is you, because essentially, think about it. When people have told you it's like, oh my gosh, dude, your story is so powerful, you should write a book, right? When people have said that to you, is because you obviously, something happened in your life, right? Like you made a lot of money, you sold businesses, your attitude changed, you lost weight, like whatever that you got more spiritually connected, you're much more happier, whatever that transformation is. Like you solved some problem in your life and people are blown away. It's like, how did you do that? Now, automatically, you just start going into your life story. Well, once upon a time, when I was 5 years old, my dad walked out on me, and then this happened, and then I did this, and then that, and all that stuff. Like, this is how people go about telling their story most of the time. Because when they tell the story like this, and people tell them they should write a book, they just think that they have to write the book the same way, and 90% of those books end up failing, right? So this is why it's so important to identify that reader's journey. When I mentioned to Purple on Facebook, I said, complete your book outline. The book outline is your reader's journey. Step 1, do this. And as I identify that step 1, then I have 3 components in it. I have a bit of a teaching component. I have a bit of storytelling on how it applied to me. And then there is a proof component that, hey, look at this person. You might know this person. Her name is Michelle Obama, and she used this very principle to do this, right? You share some statistics or something like that in the proof section. So those are the things that add up to building your chapters. But every chapter is a sequence. So chapter 1, then, and that's why you're going to get your reader hooked to your book, because it's a sequential thing. And this is when you get your reader to get hooked to your book, this is where they recommend your book. And when they recommend your book to people who you don't know, then all of a sudden you're creating a viral effect, right? But you got to understand that it's a transformation that we're helping them. We're not necessarily writing a book, a memoir book. We are writing your memoirs, but it is logically sequenced into each chapter. Does that make sense, Gary?
Yes, it does. Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah. Awesome. Awesome. And again, for a lot of you who are already in the writing process, that's just kind of a refresher for you. But that's all it. That's what it's all about. Now, once you have written that outline, and again, we walk you through this in the course that I showed you. Go through those videos, and videos are not very long. The longest video I think is like 21 minutes. As far as these steps are concerned. Then those 10-minute, once you have those steps, then underneath each step, you are going to just kind of, brainstorm. What are the 10, 15 things you want to talk about inside of each chapter? And just write them down. They don't have to make sense first. You just write them down. Let's say my book was a little bit more business, but you can do this in any book. Let's see, after the introduction chapter. Yeah. So, my chapter 2 talks about, it says the title is Screw Personal Development, right? And here I'm building the case. Now, I just write down, it's like, okay, so when I'm writing, step 1 is this, step 2 is, forget about personal development. Now, what do I mean by that? So I'm going to highlight, define personal development, define character development, define professional development. I might look at certain books that I have and what are the things that they talk about in the personal development. What's the big idea? What's the magic of thinking big? Like, all of these things. So I look at a lot of books, and if they fall in that category, I might just jot down, some of the points. And lo and behold, I have, 10 to 15 things I may want to talk about. Now, once I've done that for every chapter, I kind of go and group them. Like, okay, so this stuff I'm going to do a teaching on. This stuff I'm going to use my story for. This stuff I'm going to showcase from proof, right? Like I kind of create broader categories within the chapter. And then that's it. And then I set up 10 minutes, 10 minutes time, and I can use the challenge that we have given you access to. I can write it if I like. I personally knew the topics once I created this outline that I just, I spoke my book, most of it. There were certain topics that I actually brought in a small audience of like 5, 6 people, and I did a teaching webinar kind of thing. And then I got that transcribed, and then, created the content off of that. So that's next part, of this whole thing. So hope that makes sense. Hope that gives you some clarity as to how you go about this. And then, once you are done with the first draft, then we'll talk about the next piece. Then we talk about how do you beef up the book? How do you publish the book? Do you want to go down the route of self-publishing? Do you want to publish with us? What does that look like? Along the way, I want you to start thinking about your social media as well and start planning that out. And by the way, this course, this book outline that you just created, I want you to understand that this is the foundation of all of your content on social media, in your book, and your online course. Right? So the work that you're doing here is not just pointless work and it's just I'm going to use it to write the book. It serves as your calendar. It serves as your topics that you are going to write about. Eventually, when we get to the marketing and promoting of your book, we're going to use this to identify other authority figures in the market already so that we can market your book to their audiences. Right. So this is a very, very crucial, solid step that you want to make sure that you go through. So it's not just about writing your, right? All right. How does that sound? Sounds good? Thumbs up, 2 thumbs up.
Excellent.
Okay. All right. Good. Good stuff. And here's what I found out. I've been kind of reflecting on this. I've been thinking about this, and there are lots of I think the world has changed again. The world changed drastically in 2020. The world changed again in 2022. And in the next 6 months is going to change even faster. Now, you can look at it and say, oh my gosh, I can't keep up with the change. That's one. Two is you really start understanding it's like, what's really going on? Because the world has always been changing. The speed at which it changes, that's different. Sometimes it used to take 5-10 years for a change to take place. Now, sometimes it just takes a couple of months, in 2020, all of a sudden we were in a place where we had to start learning how to use, online systems and be able to, companies had to figure out a way to transition to online world. Those companies that did not figure this out fast enough suffered, right? And it was the thing that that created a huge amount of online presence, and companies like Facebook and Google, their ad budget started, not ad budget, their ad revenue started going up because everybody was using and starting to learn and all of that stuff. And that's the world that you come in, is like, oh my gosh, everybody's doing ads. There's so much noise out there. Just when you think that we were just getting settled in with that, November 2022, do you know what happened? Something new. Well, it wasn't new, but it openly came out, and that was our friend ChatGPT, right? And that just changed the world again, like in the way, and by the way, AI technology is new right now. But the kind of things that people are starting to use this, instead of us getting worried about, it's like, oh my gosh, how is ChatGPT going to take over my job? It's no, make yourself more valuable by using ChatGPT. For those of you who've attended my sessions over the past little while, I talk about how I consider ChatGPT my research team. I mean, imagine having at your disposal an entire R&D department, research and development, right? And you just show up for this meeting and you say, like, okay, guys, like, here's what I need. I'm going to write a book about this topic, or this is what I'm looking at doing. What are your thoughts on it? Right? And then ChatGPT, your research team, goes and scours all of the data in the world on the internet and says, well, here you go. Right? Now, you don't just take it at face value. You still use your critical thinking, right? You still use so the speed at which things take place is just going to be a lot different now. And you can use your ChatGPT to write your book as well. But not just kind of copy and paste it in there. Like, it's really helping you think, helping you take that research and add it to the things that you want to say, mix it with your life, because ChatGPT doesn't know your life, right? It can work on the teaching component. It can work on some of the, proof component, but your story is still your story. And that's how you create a unique angle. There you have it. Hope that was of benefit to you. I feel like a book is really a great tool for you to create a differentiation between what you do and what others do. I remember I started using my book as a way to get in front of people that I wanted to get in front of. As they read my book, in their eyes, my perceived expertise was positioned, was highlighted. And that's what a book can do for you. And listen, if you are interested in going on a journey of writing a book, I do. Sometimes these days I'm doing webinars every Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern. If you are interested, you can definitely go to my website and register for it. And I look forward to seeing you there. Thanks for stopping by. Have a good one.